But I'm sure that if you ask anything during the chat, we'll make sure that Libby can see those and we can get to those and help each other out. So Libby, I'll turn it over to
Great.
you.
Thank you so much, Megan. This has been a sort of a lifelong, pursuit of mine, is to be the most efficient and effective. And I literally spend a lot of time thinking about it and aspiring to it. And I'm quite a bit ADD, as Eric can attest to. Thanks for being here, Eric. And so I really struggle with a good methodology to, articulate what it is I'm trying to achieve and stay focused on the things I need to stay focused on to make that happen. And so I stumbled upon Donald Miller, and some of you may know him from his most famous book, Building a Story Brand, but I'm just a huge fan of his, and he's expanded into other things. And he had this planning methodology, and I spent the end of 2020 going through this process, and it has been truly life-changing. So I'm here today just to share that with you, just to share my personal experience and how, for the first time in my life, I'm grounded in what it is I want to have in my life. And every day I bring focus and clarity to what I need to achieve. And it's just through some very simple tools. That's one thing I like about him, is he makes everything so simple. So his book, Marketing Made Simple, Business Made Simple, everything he tries to simplify. So I'm going to share some stuff with you that I've learned from him. He does, one of these tools is free on his website, and I'm going to share that with you as well. And it's a daily planner that really works. So I hope you're ready to do a little thinking and working today too. And please make this interactive as much as possible. I'm going to ask you to weigh in on some things and share your thoughts. So hopefully you'll be willing to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I just have a few slides I wanted to share just to give you a visual. And so we'll get started. So this is going to seem maybe strange to a couple of you, but I like this notion of starting with a life plan, not just, what are my goals for this year, or what are my tasks I need to do today? What really helped me with more than anything was grounding myself in this, what do I want for my life, right? And so I started there, as Donald Miller suggests, with an obituary. And that can sound pretty morbid to people, but it's like, write what you want people to say about you when you're gone. Meaning that by the time you're gone, you have lived a life full of meaning and fulfillment, right? And so if that's ultimately, where you're going to define what you want your life to have been. And then let's back up to a 10-year vision, and I'd back up to a 5-year vision, a 1-year vision, set some goals and define some projects we want to achieve, and manage those. And then the daily planner comes in last. And all these things are connected. So hopefully this makes sense to you as we go through it. So this is actually inspired by a product that Donald Miller has called Hero on a Mission. And he talks a lot about heroes. I don't know if any of you know him, but that's a theme throughout all of his material. So let's talk about writing your obituary. And I will send these slides and share them afterwards, so that you can get a copy of them, kind of use this to go through, but I encourage you to take screenshot or write notes or whatever you want to while we go through. And this, again, at the end of 2020, my reflection on the end of the year, I spent a little bit of time doing this. It doesn't take long at all. I literally spent maybe an hour putting all this together. But how long do you want to live? How many years do you have left? And that for me was a little bit like eye-opening, like, oh, I need to I don't have time to waste, right? To achieve the things I want to achieve. Who in your life do you want to show a lifetime of love and devotion to? Could be children, could be parents, could be other loved ones, friends. Is there a big vision you want to accomplish before you die? Something that might be part of your obituary. What do you want people to feel on the day they find out you're gone? How do you want them to feel about you? And then put that all into your obituary and write, obituaries, when you see them in the paper, they're just a couple paragraphs, right? A few paragraphs. put it together, write your own obituary. And I'm telling you, it'll be a profound experience. So have any of you ever done anything like this before? I would love to hear if you've ever heard this idea before or thought about it or done it. Because I know I hadn't. Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
I actually have, but it wasn't in a different way. So this was all brought up to me in a different way, and it was finding my why.
Yes.
Finding my why I was doing things, and why I wanted to stay in business, and why I wanted to get past the things that when the negative things I thought happened to me, or get past my nose. And they all included these questions.
Yeah.
You know, somebody who has more years behind them than they have in front of them, yeah, all those things get to be a priority. But sometimes I had to throw away some things on my bucket list. But all those things I contemplated, but it was surrounded around discovering my why.
Yeah, that's another profound thing, right? And I assume it was in relationship to the book, Finding Your Why. Yeah, it's that book has had a big effect on me too, along with Donald Miller. That's excellent. Anybody else ever had that experience or thought about it or written your obituary?
I haven't written. This is Jerry speaking, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
I haven't written my own obituary, obviously, but I've written other people's. But the point I'm getting at is that I am having like so many crazy serendipitous moments right now. And like, this is one of them because through COVID, I've been unemployed. I've been unemployed for almost 2 years at this point, actually. And that's what's led me. It's like forcing me into entrepreneurship, which I just don't want to do. And all my friends have been yelling at me for years to do this. And finally, one of them said, you know, the reason you can't find a job because you're not supposed to find a job. You're supposed to have your own business. And I'm like, you're crazy. You're so full of crap. So then she goes, yeah, you know what? Maybe you should get a spiritual reading. And I'm like, okay. So for my birthday, I got a spiritual reading. And that is what the damn spiritual reader said. And I'm like, what? I go, no way. And I go, come on, man. And he's like, yeah, it's true. And I said, no, go back and ask the spirits. This can't be right. And so then another friend of mine gave me this book called How to Be a Badass by Jen. I think it's
yep, I've read that too.
Okay. And I never read it. And I just had this book and I'm just like, what is this about actually? And it's about these sort of themes. And then when I literally, I get so many emails, you have no idea. So then today when I came upon this, I was like, wow, this looks really good. And it's like, so I signed up for it. And anyhow, so I'm here.
Yeah. You know, if you ever want to commiserate, I mean, I've only been in business for 2 years. And so, you know, I'm pretty early in it too, but, you know, talk to Megan afterwards and see how you can get connected. There's lots of support with the Entrepreneurial Center and, you know, and I'm always willing to, you know, commiserate or listen or help if I can, but it is, you know, there's a lot to it. So take it one step at a time. I think this will help you a lot going through this process. It helped me tremendously. So thank you for sharing that too. You know, people are struggling. It's a tough time. Yeah. This will give you some tangible things though. And so let's talk about, you know, once you sort of have your obituary written. And again, I was surprised at how quick and easy it was for me to jot that down. And don't feel like it's the final one you're ever going to write. Just write down what's on your mind today. Just write it today. It'll change. I guarantee you'll change a little bit of it, but it will be so impactful and insightful for you to just write it down and see what's there on the top of your mind. So then after you get that done, move to a 10-year vision. Donald Miller uses movies as analogies all the time. He's a movie buff. So he talks about start with your movie title. 10 years from now, what would be the title of your movie if they made a movie about your life 10 years from now? What will be your age 10 years from now? And then I love that he weaves in all these different areas for goals: career goals, health goals, family goals, friends goals, and spiritual goals. And they're, you know, it doesn't matter if you're religious or not, spiritual goals, right? What's feeding your spirit? Could be religion, could be other things. 2 things you do every day, 10 years from now. What are the 2 things that you make sure you do every day? What are the 2 things you don't do every day? And then write a couple of sentence story summary of your life 10 years from now. Does all this make sense to you? Yeah, any questions here? So jot some things down as you're going through this if you have thoughts about what you might want to put in here. And then the same thing 5 years from now. So envision your life 5 years from now. What's the movie title? What's your age? All those goals, 2 things you do every day and 2 things you don't do every day, and your story summary 5 years from now. Okay. I'm telling you, this is a powerful experience. 1 year then, what's your 1 year vision? Same things. You'll see some consistencies too. You know, I started out thinking, oh my gosh, I could write a book about the things I don't want to do every day, right? But I ended up landing on 2 that were really important. And you will too. Some things will rise to the top, and they were surprisingly consistent across as I thought about 10, 5, and 1 year. So now let's talk about goal setting, and this has to do with projects you might want to complete, or health goals that you have, whatever it is. Go through the same process to define those goals or projects in this way. Give it a name. Let's say it's walking 20. I want to walk 100,000 steps a week. That's one of my easy goals. That's very tangible, right? So my goal is 100,000 steps a week. And that goal matters to me because I want to maintain my physical health and hopefully lose a few pounds on the way and keep my dogs from going stir crazy, right? So all those things, and get out and get some fresh air. So my completion date is I want to be walking 100,000 steps per day by June 30th. I figure that gives me time to ramp it up, right? My goal partner is actually my mom. So my mom is keeping me grounded in that. She's 82 and a prolific walker. And so we're being each other's partners, and she has a smaller goal. She's 82, but we're keeping each other honest. And so we walk at the same time and talk on the phone. I walk a few times a day. She walks once, but we get together and check on our steps. So my milestones are that first time, I didn't bound them in time yet, and I don't know that I will, but my first milestone is getting to a consistent 10,000 steps a day. And then I want to get to 15,000 steps a day and up, until I get to, let's see, I haven't done that math yet. I just set this goal yesterday. So until I get to my 100,000 steps, right? And so it's important that I focus on not trying to do 100,000 steps in one day. That wouldn't happen, but literally, I might decide I only want to walk 5 times a week, but I'm going to have to get those 100,000 steps in.
Yep.
So yeah, go, Eric.
Well, that was kind of what I was thinking, because what I was thinking about was what I was being told. Something that came between my vision and my goal, and you kind of hit on it right there. And that was I was telling my mentor in my business about my 10-year vision and all that kind of stuff, and he was telling me, forget about it. I said, what do you mean? He said, what are you doing today?
Yeah.
So I realized that I can have those visions, those 10-year visions, 5-year visions, but what am I doing today to either make that happen or have that realization come up later? And you talked about it, that thing that you do every day.
Yeah, milestones are so important because you can have that big goal in mind, but if you don't chunk it down to doable pieces, then it's not going to happen, right? The 10,000 steps a day would be overwhelming for some people if they're starting from 0 steps a day or 1,000 steps a day. I've been walking a lot, so 10,000 steps a day is easily doable for me. At 7 days a week, because my dogs don't let me take a day off, which is good. But somebody might start out with, I'm going to walk around the block, or I'm going to walk down the street and back, or I'm going to walk, to the third house down the street and back. So the key, and this is a great point, Eric, I'm glad you raised it, is you've got to set yourself up to succeed. Because, and I'll get to why in just a minute. Let me finish these, but thank you for your comments. You're right. You need to set milestones that are easy to achieve. When you set up something that will set you up to fail, you get negative reinforcement. So you want to have success. We used to say, you got to set things that are a stretch and you really want to push yourself, but then you have to have small chunks that are success along the way to that bigger goal. And what is your daily sacrifice to reach that goal? And you want to make that doable. I'm going to give you one of Donald Miller's own examples. He decided that he wanted to swim X number of laps, a week or whatever was his long range goal. His daily sacrifice and his first milestone was to get in his car and drive to the pool 5 times a week. That was his daily sacrifice. And that was initially his first milestone. Now, he wasn't probably going to not swim if he got to the pool, but he's like, that was huge. Even to just get my swimsuit, my towel, my change of clothes ready the night before and get to the pool in the morning. And so that was his daily sacrifice. And he started making a checklist and dating every time he did that, right? He just started doing checklists, which is that last part, repetition record. And I watched his video about this again yesterday as I was kind of prepping, doing last minute preps for today. And he reminded me that when you have a repetition record where you keep track of every time you take a step towards your goal, you get a dopamine hit. And every time you get a dopamine hit, it reinforces your achievement and it becomes, exponential, right? So that is a really key part of this, is don't just write this down and then not revisit it. And that's what the daily plan does. And I'm excited that I get to share that with you and that you can download it for free, because it's a key part of this, and it really will help set you up for success. Anybody else have any comments or questions at this point?
Yeah, Libby, I just want to jump in with a comment. I just love how you kind of word it as, the daily sacrifice. I think that actually is a really good way to think about it, because it's not easy. It's something that you have to really plan in your schedule. And a book I read, that a concept that really resonated with me, is not to think about your passion, but what pain you're willing to endure.
Mm-hmm.
So if your goal is to open up a business, what is the kind of pain that you're willing to endure to do that? What are you willing to, spend your time doing? So I just really appreciate that. I thought that was great.
Thank you. And it's Donald Miller stuff. I mean, it's just brilliant. I love it. So I'm just sharing it, but thank you. I think too, it's that, we're already living our lives as they are today, right? And so every minute is full pretty much, right? Like we think it is anyway. It feels full. And so in order to take on something new, you're going to have to sacrifice something. You're either going to have to sacrifice, your TV time or your sleeping in the morning. For Donald Miller, he was getting up at 5:30 instead of 7, so he was sacrificing sleep time in the morning. So it's that stop and pause about what you're going to have to sacrifice to achieve this goal, and then adjust your life and reinforce every time you actually have success. So just getting in the car and driving to the pool and getting there was huge, right? But then he found himself getting in the pool and swimming. And at first he said I would do 2 laps, and then I would get out and go home. But make sure you also identify all the parts of the project that need to be completed. We often, again, I'll repeat this, set these big goals, but if we don't define all the pieces of it that need to be addressed, then we just really don't get started, because we don't really know, you know, it's that block of, oh my gosh, I need to set aside like a Saturday to do this, right? Or I need to set aside 2 hours to do it. Well, maybe you should break it down into 10-minute chunks and get started right now. And that has been one of my biggest ahas. It was one of my biggest blocks to getting things done. And it's been one of my biggest ahas was, if I really take the time to break out little chunks that I can do, like when a meeting ends 10 minutes early and I'm like, okay, I've got 10 minutes, you know, what do I do? Then I can turn to that and achieve something. And again, make a little check mark that I did something towards that goal. And that is reinforcing. So any other thoughts or comments at this point, or questions? Okay, let's go on to, whoops. I always have mouse issues. Okay, we're going to talk about the daily plan now. And I'm actually going to pull up the daily planner so that you can see what it looks like. And probably can't see that yet. I'll have to share my screen again. So here's what it looks like. Is that too small for you to see it? I can expand it. I sort of wanted you to see the whole page, but I'm happy to
yes, please expand it if you can.
I can see it. Oh.
Okay, sure. I will expand it. So these are 1-page daily planners. And I love lots of things about them. And again, I'm going to give you the link to download this for free. But I love that you check off, I've reviewed my life plan today. A lot of the times I sketch part of this out on Sunday as I prepare for my week. And then every morning I pull them out and sort of finish it. But every morning I checked whether or not I've reviewed my life plan before I start my day. And then I review my goals again, date it, and then I set out some tasks for the day, right? So what tasks do I want to achieve? I love that he puts in the amount of time it's going to take and a rest and reward for achieving. Okay, so you get to have little rewards throughout the day. So he has 3 primary tasks that you set, and then down at the bottom, some secondary tasks, right? So these are the things I'll get to if I am able to. I always, and this is the one thing that I fill out on Sunday, is my appointments for each day. So I make a sheet for Monday through Friday. I put my appointments in. That way they're in my head. And I also prep for them on Sunday to a good degree. And so, so that is a good reminder to start the week that way. I love these questions over here. These have been game changers for me. Like, these make me want to fill out this planner every day and live by this, which is, at the end of the day, if this were the second time I were living this day, what would I do differently? It's just great to reflect on how your day went, and to correct, right? To learn, like, to get some ahas, like, well, I would allow 15 minutes between meetings. Okay, that's just a simple one, but that's an aha I've definitely had, which is I'm scheduling too many one-on-ones and appointments, you know, to get anything done. So it's like, that's been a good reflection for me and an adjustment. I'm still a works in progress. I'm still adjusting to that, but it's a great reflection. And then things I get to enjoy today. What a nice way to start the day, reflecting on, I'm going to insert some really enjoyable things throughout the day, right? And I'm reframing too. Like, I've reframed every day I put on here, I get to walk my dogs today. Instead of thinking it up, well, I have to walk my dogs. It's like, I'm really learning to enjoy that whole thing, you know, of walking them, not so much the past couple of weeks. And then at the bottom, I love this. What's my story summary today? What do I want my story to be? I love that he has us kind of writing our own story, you know, and framing it the way we want it to be framed each day. So that has been a profound experience for me too, is creating my story summary each day. So I leave that to the end of the day, actually. And I leave this, if this were the second time I were living this day, what would I do differently? it's really satisfactory. And this is actually a fillable document. So it's really easy to use it and just fill it in whenever you want to. It's really satisfying to check off these tasks. I feel you know, like I have the brain of maybe like a hamster or a gerbil, but I don't know about you, I think it's human nature, love checking off my tasks, especially when this nice little check mark shows up. So all the simple things, right? So so this is it, you know, in a nutshell, is you know, is really establishing how you want to live your life by writing your obituary. And that's what that does. That's what it does. It, you know, you focus on how do you want your life to be, and what meaning do you want in it, and what's important in your life. And I love that question about how do you want people to think of you when they hear that you've died, because that means that's how you're going to nurture those relationships from now until that time. And it really caused me to pause and think. Answer those questions that I put at the beginning of the presentation. They are really impactful as far as reflecting on them as a place to, as the starting place of writing your obituary. So that's what I have for you today. And I would love to chat a little bit. I'm going to share with you where you can get the slides, or yeah, the planner, excuse me. Let me pull that up real quick. Because I think you're going to find them as enjoyable and useful as I do. So the place to get them is really simple. He has a great little web addresses that he uses. So this one is literally heroonamission.com. And so when you go to heroonamission.com, I will share with you, you are going to get, whoops, don't want that. It'll redirect you, and you're going to see at the top of the screen this link to get the planner. So all you have to do is click on that link at the top, and then it will download to your laptop, and you'll have that planner that I just showed you. And I don't get any, I'm not like an affiliate of his or anything. He should be paying me, but he does not, because I love his stuff and I rave about it all the time. And every chance I get to share some of the tools that he uses, I do, because it's been life-changing for me. So it's been incredibly helpful. Any questions? Do you guys want to chat a little bit about what you're going to be doing? And
I just wanted to ask you, Libby, how long do you spend filling out that planner?
I have gotten faster and faster. I think you can spend as much or as little time as you want, but you know, you can fill it out in just a few minutes. You know, at first, when I was, in order to check off that box that said I've reviewed my goals and I've reviewed my plan, you know, I would reflect on those and like really think about them. But now I just kind of, you know, make it a quick refresher, because you know, they're pretty much ingrained in my brain now after doing this for a month and a half. But yeah, it's just a couple minutes. Literally, it's a couple minutes in the morning. On Sunday, I do sort of populate my sheets and put my appointments in there. But it's a good question. It does not take much time at all.
Libby, something that I really appreciated, especially with this fillable planner, is the idea of your highest priorities and then your secondary. And that's something that we talk a lot about within our team, is we can oftentimes fill our day with kind of more of the, well, I can do this, but it's not the highest priority. It may be the easier thing to get done. We talk about blue chips and white chips a lot. And so thinking about, am I spending my time on the biggest impact things? And they may be harder or more challenging, but they're also more rewarding. And I think having it outlined so clearly like that is so important. And clearly there's going to be some days where those kind of secondary things move up because something changes. But I think that that's really helpful. I'm curious for the folks on the call who are either starting businesses or trying to figure out how to kind of make them more successful. How do you turn this into a daily practice, either for teams? How do you encourage others to do this? Or how can you model this for other people so that way, as a business, you're setting yourselves up for success?
Yeah, and that's kind of the question I had. A little twist on the question I had. It was, at what part of your entrepreneurial pursuits should you engage in this type of activity? I mean, I know you should do it anytime, but what's the best time? Is it in the very beginning? Is it in the conceptual stage, or is it when you get started, or after you've had a couple of years under your belt?
I will let anybody else, answer that question. I have a very strong opinion about it, which is what motivated me to do this thing today. So does anybody else have any thoughts about when you should do this?
I am not an expert by any means. I'm
Nobody
really
is. None of us are.
trying to set the most basic goals. But to me, I know that the pit in my stomach of I should be doing these things. And meeting that with grace and let's just start where we are right now. To me, that speaks to the right time is right now for that.
That's great. Yeah, I wish I would have had this information years ago. Even the first part about writing your obituary, because the other things I've sort of, you've heard about, right? You've heard oh, you need to have a 10-year, vision and work backwards from that. And you need to have goals, and, you need to set your intentions for the year, the quarter, the month, the week, the day, right? But that grounding of writing my obituary and thinking about what do I want the rest of my life to be has been life-changing. It has grounded me in so many things. And Eric, I've talked about this a little bit on our networking meetings, but it's a powerful reflection, and it's a powerful foundation for how you live your life every day. And so I feel like that's really grounded me in a lot of things, including putting space in my calendar for family and friends that I wasn't doing, because as an entrepreneur, you have to, otherwise you'll just work 24/7.
Yeah.
So
and that's
yeah.
Sorry. I was gonna say, pardon me for interrupting, by the way.
No, I'm done.
I was gonna raise my hand, but then I'd have to follow the rules. So my initial thoughts were, I literally said, oh my God, this woman must be good at math, because there's too many do this, do that, do this, do that. And it's part of what is good about me and part of what is bad about me is that I am a free spirit. I'm highly creative, and I just want to come and go and be the breeze and the color that floats through your head, and it's this is too chaining me down. And so I was getting really hostile in my gut, I was I don't want to do this. And then I was what this is, and then as you talked more and more, I was wait a minute, this is what you're actually supposed to do if you have your own business. It's maybe this is why I never even thought about, maybe these are the things I never wanted to do before, because I keep thinking, well, if you have kids, you can't have your own business because it's too unpredictable. I'm married to an entrepreneur. So I I am very well aware of the highs and the lows. And if anybody tells me that they don't exist, I'm going to meet you out back behind the barn. Okay, because it does. So I have all these reasons why it won't work, you know, and but then again, maybe, you know, this kind of discipline, you know, is what is required. And I never thought about it like that. And I've done interior design. I mean, I am a designer, but the point is I've always had a job and kind of done it as a side hustle along with, you know, teaching yoga and various other things that I love. So like I do my love stuff on the side and I have a job that I can't stand. Well, now I can't find a job I can't stand. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. So I'm just trying, I'm just processing like, well, maybe this is what you need to do if you really want to be successful.
I'm a lot like that too. I'm, you know, I'm spontaneous and I like spontaneity and I like, you know, and I kind of get swept away with the moment doing, you know, I love people. So when I'm talking to you, I'm like in it, you know, but this has been because he puts it in the frame of, you know, what do you want your life to be? When all is said and done, like, how do you want your life to be defined and what do you want it to be? And that I could get excited about. And so, you know, if you do that, I think it's going to lead to more, you know, achieving the things that you want to achieve, but being pretty deliberate and intentional about it, and not feeling yourself as kind of a rebel and a free spirit, like digging in, like, well, I don't want to be bound by a schedule every day or whatever.
Right.
I think it'll be meaningful to you then because you'll be excited about it because you're defining it yourself.
Yeah, I had a friend tell me if I don't set a goal, how do I know when I got there? But Megan brought up a real good question about bringing this down to your team. I develop teams all over the country, so I would like to know an answer to that. So if someone can help with that.
Yeah. Well, would you see yourself sitting down and doing, you know, this with teams? Not necessarily face to face right now, but you know,
we do a lot of things on Zoom because it's the cool hip thing that the kids are doing now. But but yeah. So I was wondering if there's a way to. I think about people like you know Jerry's comments and you know and things like that, and the people that I deal with that are from all different walks of life, and maybe a good way to present this information.
I've got an idea for Eric.
Yes, please.
So I have worked in the non-profit sector my entire life, Eric. And so, you know, you have an organization with its own mission and vision, don't you? And so if you have that with an organization, they already have that down on paper and they already have the organizational mission steps broken down for them, and each member of a team plays a part in that, then I guess within that you would have the operations director or manager, whoever it is who leads that team, working with that team to break down their own goals on how they manage their part of the project, and using a daily planner alongside that. And that would be, you know, so everyone would have their own planner, and then you would have the operations manager using the operations planner. That could work, possibly. Was that too much work, do you think?
No, I think it's a great idea, incorporating these things into the system, incorporating these things into the structure that we have is a great idea.
I think it would have to be done within a system if you're working with teams, because there's already a plan, and then, you know, if you have elements of the program that are not quite getting it together, just not gelling somehow with the organizational plan, then it identifies you, I think, very starkly that there's a problem either with the way the team is organized, or what the team, the roles that the team consists of, or that the organizational strategy, their own vision, is off balance. And that just throws up whole other load of work for you.
Mhm. Yeah. And, you know, I also like the notion that's really great. And, you know, I think as a team lead, you have to, you know, have a clear vision of where you're headed and wake up every single morning and point to that with your team and say, that's where we're going. That's where we're going. That's where we're taking this thing. And then I think you have to explain it very clearly and simply. You know, why, Eric, to get back to that notion of why and why it matters. And then you kind of line up team members with their strengths and their skills and their abilities and give them a role in that journey. But and then to practicality, yeah, I think if you implement this and get it systematized into your meetings with your, you know, when you meet with your team members, like, hey, what are you doing? What are you aiming for? What are you working on? You know, I think often we have these, we feel like we have to meet with our reports every week, and often it's not a very focused meeting. You know, it can be like a problem and resolution meeting but we don't keep our people grounded in what it is that they're trying to achieve. And so I think this can be a really good framework for that.
I have to wonder too, if you approach your team members in this mindset, after you kind of get everybody in the habit of doing this and reflecting on their priorities and their accomplishments, I would bet that fulfillment also increases. So,
Yeah.
you know, they're starting to feel like I'm really accomplishing things. I'm adding to the mission, I'm adding to the goals. So there's a little bit more ownership and also satisfaction.
Yeah, I think so. What's missing in this, I think that's great too, is that sort of organizational vision, right? This gets to your, you know, an individual's, you know, own vision of their life, but it's like, it's up to the leader to define what the organization, you know, obituary is, for lack of a better term, and the 10-year vision, the 5-year one, and then bring the staff in to know what their role is in that, and know that everybody's contributing in their way to that end goal, and line up all that. That's the magic, right? To get it all lined up and everybody headed in the direction that you need, that you need to be going. So, hey, I was going to say, is it Anissa? Is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes, it's Anisa. Yes, hi.
It's beautiful. I have worked in nonprofits and with nonprofits for 42 years. So I'd love to chat with you. I'm passionate about nonprofits. We should chat.
Thank you. Me too.
Yeah. I know, I just did that math this morning because I was like, how long have I been doing this? So, anybody else have any thoughts? Are you thinking, how many of you think you're gonna try some of this?
I think I'll try it, especially since there's a free.
Yeah,
I mean, free is the magic word, you know.
It
so
is.
If there's a free download, man, I'm on it.
Mm-hmm. It's a good little tool.
Yeah, I think that this has really inspired me to think about this more. I had done this a lot last year and then kind of fell off the bandwagon. So I think this is a really great way to be mindful about how to spend your day and start it off right. So thank you. I think this will be really good to move forward with.
Good. Yeah, and don't hesitate to reach out if you start, you know, just as an accountability, you know, person, if you want to, you know, just to pick brains. I'm by no means an expert. I keep struggling to do better and better and better, and that's all. So I hope it was helpful.
I plan to try it too. I think one of the advantages of using this that could be used far, far wider than our group is the fact that with this COVID experience that we've been having, the year that's just passed and continues to go on now, the lockdown, a lot of people's lives changing, there's been a sense of a loss of control and a loss of motivation, even where people have jobs. You know, how do you keep yourself motivated from a distance when you're looking at your team across a Zoom screen? And I think this could be very useful to keep the ball rolling, to keep that vision in mind, to keep that connection.
Yeah, that's a great
comment. With
You're
colleagues, with
right.
family, with goals, you know, life goals that still matter. They haven't gone anywhere. Yeah, it's probably more important now than it ever was.
Yeah, I think so too. Yep.
Libby, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
So the link that you sent, it's the
Hero on a mission.
yes. Okay. And then do we click get access? Is that all?
No, at the top there's some, I think it's white lettering that says
I see it now.
Get the planner or something. Sorry, I'm not on
Perfect.
there. You see it?
Perfect. Yes, I got it. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
good. Yeah, oh, you're welcome. Yeah. You're muted, Megan.
Yep, I saw that. For everybody on the call, I am about to hit send on in the chat box. This is the Delaware Entrepreneurial Center website. Today's recording will be posted in the next few days as well. So if there's something that you wanted to go back and make sure you heard again, please go there. You can check out other past events as well, other recordings. We have a fireside chat style session coming up in March about the empowered leader. So we invite you to come to that. All of our events are free. They're not free, they're at no cost. I think there's cost to everything. But we really appreciate you making the sacrifice, as we're talking about the daily sacrifice, to come today and give up your lunch hour with us and hearing about Libby's perspective and just the great conversation. This is the most engaged and participant engagement that we've seen. So thank you all. We would love to have you come and join us at the center. We have experts there to help you through your different development of different projects, different businesses. Sarah actually might be coming in to do some yoga for our members. So we're always trying to build our ecosystem, and we would love for all of you to be a part of that. Just today, actually, Eric and I were on the phone talking about how we can help each other and help the community. Our biggest goal is to increase the ecosystem of our entrepreneurs within this area, and all of you are a part of that. So thank you, Libby. Thank you all for joining us today, and we hope that you are able to participate in more events coming up.
Thank you, Megan, so much.
Yeah. I
thought that, thank you, by the way, for that and everything else. I thought, Libby, didn't you mention something about you want to make the slides available?
Yeah, okay. I can actually pop them right into the chat box if you'd like me to. Right now, I emailed them to Megan just now, but I'm dropping them into the. I'll drop them into the chat. If you don't mind staying on for just a second longer while I get that done.
No, not at all. I just wanted to make sure I got them. There. Thank you. Because otherwise I'd be screenshotting the crap out of my desktop again, as usual.
Yeah. I'm notorious for that too.
Oh my God, you should see my desktop.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Well, great job, Libby. Thank you again.
Thanks, Eric. I'll see you soon, okay?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys take care.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye, Anisa.
I just dropped those
Bye,
in.
everybody.
If you want, you should be able to download them.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for letting me do this. This was fun.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I
Anisa
hope you have a good day.
Jerry, thank you. Wonderful. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
You too. Thanks.
Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.